and they would play the real loving frequencies and the powerful frequencies for the Roman Catholic Church officials and the religious leaders. But for the masses, they gave something else. And so, in the end, what happens at the end of Phantom of the Opera? Christina, who the demon loves, Satan loves Christina. That is symbolism of Christianity. That Satan holds Christina captive. And at the end, how does she emancipate herself and free all of the people in the opera house from the demon? She gives her heart and love to Satan. And it kills him. He can't handle the love. So this is how it all works out. This is how we win. Again, think about the metaphor of a dark room, pitch black, full of darkness and evil. You take a little bit of light into that room and what happens? Dispels the darkness. It flees. It can't handle the light. But you can't do the opposite. You can't do the opposite. You can't take a little bit of darkness into a well-lit room of beautiful, loving human beings, capable, worthy of manifesting miracles and peace on earth and world health and universal prosperity, and extinguish that political evolution. Especially because the boss is directing it. Thank you. So it's a time to prepare. I would highly encourage you to read the work of the experts in the field. Your body, the temple, is an electromagnetic essence. It's a vibrating temple of the Holy Spirit. And again, spirituality is energy. Energy is all frequency-based. It's all related to electrons. So the understanding that what you can do, not just against what is about to take place, which is hideous on this planet. For those of you who know me well, you know that about April, I think it was 29th, when the swine flu was produced by the swine in the governments, in the laboratories, and that, thank you, and then I put out a special report. You can go on the internet right now still and see what I did. I published a special report, and then I made a 10-minute YouTube documentary, just basically an alert. And it was said by so many people all over the place. We captured, you and I together, we captured the top spot on Google searches worldwide. And we maintained that position. While all the propaganda was going, we had over 3 days, almost 100,000 hits. Now, what I'm about to tell you, I'm now writing up. It hasn't been released yet. You're the first audience in the world to hear about it. But they have seeded out. They have seeded. What they did was a psychological operation. It was a cover. They've released swine flu, avian flu, and Spanish flu viruses. Baxter Corporation that got the multi-billion-dollar vaccine stockpiling contracts from the governments of UK and others. They actually had an accident. They say, quote unquote, an accident. Several weeks ago, they had released vaccines that should never have had any avian flu, swine flu, or Spanish flu in them. They had that go out, and they injected people with it already. They also engineered a train accident, a rail accident, where they released those germs. That was published in European newspapers. And what we've witnessed here with the movement and the growth of the swine flu from Mexico. They're telling you what's going to happen, and I'm going to tell you the same thing from a different perspective. They're telling you that the greatest threat is in 3 to 4 months. Around flu season, the Obama administration has already determined that they're going to force 3 different vaccines on the public. And by that time, when this outbreak is called an imminent threat to national security and public health, they will implement the model state emergency health management program that terminates your constitutional rights, eliminates the legal system as we know it, which is really a system of injustice, and then they will marshal you every which way possible into quarantine camps and facilities for vaccination intoxication, population reduction. And so Currently, you have a spiritual religious exemption waiver available to you only when this state of emergency is not called. They have virtually called it already. And so what they're telling you is that around flu season, we're going to be hit with this big one now. And I'm telling you the same thing, but understanding what they've done. It's brilliant, foolproof. You're never going to discover. You're never going to take anybody to court. You won't have Nuremberg trials. But according to their agenda, at least half of the world's population are going to be on their way out, this year even. So you've got to prepare yourselves. Now, I've been literally lambasted. I've been demonized. I've been criticized for telling you how wonderful oxysilver is as a silver hydrosol. I personally and my family are not worried at all about getting any flu or any infectious diseases, because if you read what they've done to the what's called nanoscam, nanoscam.info, go on nanoscam.info, and I show you what the drug industrialists have done, trying to make us believe that silver hydrosols should be relabeled as pesticides and pulled from the market. Of course the drug industrialists don't want you to have what's going to keep you healthy. And it's water. It's simply mineral water with a tiny bit of nano silver, less than 5 parts per million. What's special about oxysilver, and there's many silver hydrosols, and there's a whole database. There's a huge database, University of Wisconsin, on nano silver. Everything you want to ever know about it, about toxicity and comparisons to antibiotic efficacy and everything you want to know. We've got a link to the University of Wisconsin's database. You can read up all about it if you want. The reality is the standard silver hydrosols are great for you to do that, to protect yourselves. Oxysilver is the best, it's the leading, and here's why I say that. It's the only one that has 2 special things. One is we took NASA technology that's been suppressed. They actually protect the astronauts in space by covalently bonding the silver, the nano-silver particles actually bonded to the water, the oxygen in water. So it goes in, it does its dirty work, it kills the pathogens, and it leaves your body entirely, not like the old colloidal silvers that used to deposit in the tissues. So number 2 things that it does is it creates a storm of oxygen, available oxygen, for not only the destabilization of the electrons from the pathogenic membranes. Most of the pathogens are gram-negative. The reason why it's gram-negative is it's negatively charged on the outside membrane because of the electrons. You take the electrons and negative charge off the membranes, their walls get full of holes, and now they swell with water, and they explode, they die. So that's the second thing it does. It creates this oxygen cloud that also, if you study element number 8, oxygen, oxygenation therapies, ozonation therapies, that's the creator's element to keep us healthy. The third thing that it does that nothing else does, and this is the most important thing from my perspective, it's got 528 Hertz frequency in it, and it's meant to be taken with prayer. It is the first supplement that we actually tell you, please, if you want to use this correctly, pray with it. Pray for healing. Pray for protection. And the beauty of this also is because right now, what I'm about to tell you, very few people know. I just told you about what they've done to this planet with regard to the microbes. I'm going to tell you that we're living right now the book of Revelation 13 and 14. The most horrific time in history where we lose half of our brothers and sisters on this planet at least is now. And you better prepare yourselves for that. The best way to do that is prayer, meditation, and purification. And electromagnetic spiritual uplifting that you've got to prepare yourself for in every possible way that's appropriate. And only you can know that for you. It comes from where you live, where you're being, to what you're eating, what you're drinking. You got to have the discernment.